Hey everyone, so we are back with today's session on how to start open source projects with Swastik Baranwal, who has a boatload of experience in open source, and I'll just let him have the stage.
Hey everyone, I'm Swastik Baranwal and I will be taking a session on how to get started with open source and how you can make open source projects. So let's get started. Uh, Open source 101. How will we be using open source and unreleasing its potential? So about me, I am one of the organizers of FOSS United Delhi. I am an open source developer, as you know. I also contribute to the programming language as a code developer, and I am also a technical writer and a speaker. And I have also done a lot of more things. So let's get started. So, according to you, what is open source? For me, it is a term that is referred to as open source software. It is a type of code which is designed to be publicly accessible and anyone is able to modify and distribute the code as they want it to be. So, what are the advantages of open source? Collaborating with other people, as you will be working on an open source project, you will be learning with people how to get started and learn about what kind of communication tools they will be using. And people around the world, you will be exposed to with working with people around the world and learn about several things up in their country or in their culture. Second point, learn to use production tools and code. As you will be contributing to open source, you will be learning how to use production tools like Git, uh, Docker, Git, Redis, Redis, and many other tools. And you will be learning how to write code which is suitable for the production and with having some solid principles and get your work recognized. As you will be making open source projects, you will be able to get your work recognized because many companies and many people are using those projects. So if you work on that project, you will be getting your work recognized as people will be loving your work. So you will be getting more opportunities because you have used their because the company or the person is using your open source project. So you will be getting more opportunities and preferable outcomes as compared to other candidates. So this is what I recommend everyone to do as an open source beginner. One should be learning how to use Git, which is a distributed version control to track changes in the computer, work, or place. So you must know about basic Git commands like git push, uh, git commit, git add. These are the basic commands one should you when contributing to open source. And platforms like GitHub to store and manage their code. As you know, a lot of few people use GitHub to store and manage their code on GitHub. It is a way to host your code on on the cloud. And there are many more examples of platforms like GitHub is GitLab, Bitbucket, and Gitti. You must also be knowing how to use an IDE like VS Code, where you will be writing your code. Also, there are also many more examples of using your IDE. It can be NeoVim, it can be Sublime, and many other text editors you can use. But for a beginner friendly, I would be recommending VS Code. Now, as you will be contributing to open source, you must need to know a programming language. So the most popular programming language I will be recommending is languages like TypeScript, no, like JavaScript and Python, on which one can contribute to, because these are the most projects on GitHub or any other place open source project which as these languages use a lot. So I will be showing you how I started my journey as an open source developer. Now, this is my open source contribution story as a complete newbie. So, so randomly, I was scrolling to GitHub repositories. I was scrolling to GitHub repositories, and I saw the trending part of the project. There, I found a project on which I was really interested to contribute to. Like this filter by stars, you can accordingly filter according to your language. Now I learned, for example, I started contributing to the V programming language as a complete beginner. This was in 2019 or something. So as you can see, I've done these many PRs. Okay, so this is the date. On 15 August 2019, I tried to do my first PR. I was trying to add new string functions like is lower, is upper, and is alpha. I also added to try test. As you can see, I did already did 70 lines of code of changes. I added these features. I added a test, but it wasn't merged. Now this wasn't merged because this function which I have implemented can be easily achieved to a equality operator, and it doesn't need to have a separate function for this. Plus, it didn't need to work a lot of things. So it got closed, sadly. But I didn't stop it. But I didn't stop it. So after 9 days or so, I made another PR with other functionalities. After so many commits and all, and after so many reviews, I got my first PR in the organization merged. So that is how I made my first code contribution to an organization. You can say it took me a lot of days and a lot of overnight to do this PR that time, because this is like 5 years old almost. Now there are a lot of PRs I have done after that. Then I slowly became the one of the developers of the V programming language. After that, after 2 years or so, I also became the co-developer of the V programming language. Like this, I contributed to several PRs, and I learned how to code. Now, if someone wants to start their own personal project, this is what I feel I would recommend. There is this amazing curated list of stuff known as Awesome. Here you can find everything related to that particular topic, awesome things related to that particular topic. So if I wanted to work on something, I would first, like for the language I want to contribute to, for like Python, I would be looking at the projects which fascinate me by the category. Then, for example, if I if I want to read their decoding library, I may want to put it into another language to learn the language I am interested in. For example, Go. And this is a Python library which I want to learn and want to get fluent with. So I mostly go to the functionality of the library, check their dependencies. Now I check the dependencies, what the kind of dependencies or something their code they are using. Try to see if that's replicable in Go. Then I will make an issue on how, if I want to put this project in Go. Will you be fine with it? You can make an issue like this. Then you will be able to take help for him and guidance, from which you will be able to have familiarity with the Python programming language from which the project has been ported to, and also the Go programming language you want to learn. And I have a show you a live example of how I achieved it. Okay, so this is my project. So this is my project Voxeli Maker. This has around 448 stars, which is a self-paced project, but I ported it from another language. Okay, so this was a language I was interested in. So I wanted to contribute to V programming language, and I didn't know V, but I saw that the syntax and the semantics were similar to Go. So to learn the V programming language, I started learning the Go programming language. So in order to learn the Go programming language and the V, I started to port this library to Go so that I can be familiar with both of the languages. I did my first release in I did my first release in May 6, 2020, which I directly ported the functions from that library. After that, I got some basic familiarity with both V and Go. Then I started to optimize the library which I ported. As you can see the changelog, I started to add more features. After that, when I learned how the library is built, I started to implement my custom features which were not implemented in the original library. For example, this was implemented in the original library, but I understood how it worked and implemented my own way. After that, I started to implement these many features which were not there in the original library from which I ported to, because I understood how it worked. Slowly, I started to enhance the library which I ported so that I can learn how it works. Then I released a version 2 in 2020 November 9, which had so many features and did tons of research to make it work. As you can see, I made added more features and more things. Then I released a major version almost 2 years ago, which also fixed several things. This is how I started learning the Go programming language, and I understood what this project had and how I was able to learn about how boxes can be formed inside a terminal, how terminals work, and how terminal detection code works. I was also able to learn about many things about how ANSI encoding is handled inside terminals and what terminal supports what configurations. That's how I was able to port and learn from the pre-existing project. As you can see, this is my self-written code, which wasn't there in the original library. And this took a lot of researches and lot of testing before I could even do this release. Now there's another example which I will be showing. Now this is the example which I was talking about back then. So this is a library which when I want to get started with Deno and TypeScript, but I had no clue what project should I make. So I ported this library from the JavaScript node node framework and language. This was the uh, this was the original package which was there. So here I made this issue in almost 4 years ago, where I said that I'm learning Deno and TS. I want to put this project as I like that project. I want to also base my technology in Deno. So I asked the author if he would be interested. And this is not the right way to do this, but I did it back 4 years ago because that was the fastest way. So he he reached out and said that he would be able to help me with TypeScript, also teach me Deno. Then we had a discussion on Discord how we can port the library and to work on it. Uh, I released my version in almost 4 years ago. Oh, not wait a second. I released my version almost 4 years ago with basic TypeScript code, which I understood from JavaScript code. Most of the JavaScript code is identical to the TypeScript code is identical to the JavaScript code. So a lot of syntax of this is identical. So I was able to port all this, and I also identified something because I wasn't able to understand this piece of JavaScript block. Then the original author did a PR to improve the project. So, and and refactor many of the things which you can see. He also gave me suggestion how I can improve this further. As you can see, he refactored a lot of my code and taught me how TypeScript and JavaScript have common and how different they can be. Like this, I was able to learn a lot of things about JavaScript and TypeScript and how I can write better TypeScript and JavaScript code. Based on this, I was able to uh, learn and about TypeScript and see how does it work. And this was retuted. This wasn't read because this is a JavaScript only thing. And I got this PR merged by the author. He taught me a lot of things here. Then I had several more discussions with others about this. And this project also got 28 stars, and I was able to implement most of the features of the parent library like this. And that's how I was able to learn about TypeScript, JavaScript, and Dino, also Node. Here's another example. This is from my internship, which I was doing. Okay, so this is a color generator, which I made in Svelte. So this was originally a React project, but the internship wanted me to put this on Svelte so that he can see how adaptable I am. As as most of the Svelte and JavaScript code were kind of same, so I was able to adapt to many of the things done by it. Then I made the initial comment. All this is made in Svelte. The hosted version can be seen here. This is how you can color pick, and it's almost identical to the React one. I think he didn't host it, I guess. But yeah, that's how I started. Then my founder, whom I was interning under, gave me uh, some guidance on how I can make my project even better, learning from which I learned more about basic of the Svelte and React. And my founder was so kind that he did individual commits so that I can get the most out of it. That's how I was also able to get grasp on Svelte and React. As you can see, it told me and there are a lot of optimization for me, and he also explained it. So when you want to make an open source project, you can directly ask the author if I want to make this code, I want to learn these both programming languages. You can also ask if he's ready to uh, give you some starting points so that you will be able to make your own. After that, learning the how the project works, you can be able to adapt and make your own changes, and it can be so unique that it can get much more recognition, just like I did with Boxila Maker. Now, this was Boxila Maker was a ported project, but it got a lot of recognition. And this was when I was in school, around 11th and 12th. So the project has been using Kubernetes Minikube. It's a project which uses Kubernetes. I think my website has it. Wait. Okay, this is our project. So it's a using Minikube. It hasn't featured on the Golang newsletter twice. It hasn't featured on the Golang newsletter twice. He also did comment about me that I like boxes and how I made this thing. Here's another one. Here's another one. That's what he did another release, and I got featured here. I also got featured on GitHub Radar in November 2022. This was when I was in first year of my college. Yeah, this is my feature project showcased by GitHub. And also they wrote a lot about my work and all. Yeah, Windows console support. Hooray for the fan girl in the room. That's how this got featured. And I got also got featured on GitHub India. I think this is a bit outdated. I will have to see if it still has it. Alright, so it's still there. As you can see, the stars are inaccurate because it hasn't been updated for a while, but you can see it's been hosted because it has more than 200 stars or something. That's why it got there. By this project, I gave. Wait. So I gave two talks. I got the opportunity to speak at FOSS it's an hackathon initiated by FOSS United, from which people build open source projects in 36 hours or something, in which I was a speaker. This was the first time I spoke as a technical speaker uh, in for the first time. Then I also gave a flash talk at. Then I also gave a flash talk at GopherCon India about my project and how it works, and I showcased the most of the features. Uh, and this is how my side projects made it to places while they, despite being them ported from original libraries, I was able to modify them too much to the extent that they were able to sign on their own. Opus also rewards you in many other ways. It helps you to learn and get adapt to code bases very easily. Those people who have been contributing to open source will be able to relate this, that they are able to adapt to many more open source projects. Due to open source, I have gotten a lot of opportunities in tech. But it must be noted that not everyone can get an opportunity simply from open source. A lot of factors like luck, work, and and honesty is required. Well, this is simply my opinion. Open source should never be thought as a way to get jobs. From at the time I started open source, I only contributed because I found it was fun, and that's how I started my open source journey. Any questions? Hi guys, any questions? Uh, as If you want to get connected on me, you can get connected on me on the socials, which is listed by Rebase. We will be ending soon, as if there are no questions. We will be ending soon if there are no questions in next 2 3 minutes. Yes, I'm in the Discord server. My name is Swastik, user base mentor judge. That's how you can reach me here. You can ping me by this. Divya Zin, is it what's your IGN? I can get connected on your Discord personally if you have any questions after the sessions. I hope everyone has liked the session. No need to call me sir, man. We are all equals. Okay, so guys, as the time is winding up, I will be closing the session now. Uh, if you have any more questions, please reach out to me on my socials. Thank you.